Hello and welcome to the Chase and Burner Show on Real Talk San Diego on this beautiful day. We have three amazing guests and three power hitters here, Chase.
Absolutely, 100%. I mean, it's exciting. I love these days when we get to come and do this show because we really get to find out the most of what great things people are doing here in San Diego.
Yeah, our goal here is to inspire, inform, and empower, and not a better group of ladies to really hit our goal today.
This is about wellness today. I mean, really, all in all, I mean, everything from financial wellness to buying in your home, which is obviously the American dream, to inspiring young ladies and young girls. And then, you know, something you and I, obviously you have 3 daughters, I have 1 daughter, so that's really, really important. And then something also right up our alley, and that's physical wellness. And that also helps in the mental side of things.
Yeah, and they tie it all to the business side where, you know, creates a lot of opportunity for them personally, and also, you know, big thing for us is giving back to the community. I know what these three are doing is giving back. And I got my notepad out, so I don't want to talk much more, because I do have 3 daughters. We have Aimee Clark here. You know, she is the founder and owner of Girl Uplifters team. Welcome.
Thank you.
So yeah, Chase, a lot of notes for me today. You know, she's going to help me, give me all the tips I need to know to help raise these 3 beautiful girls.
Absolutely. I mean, as somebody that goes over to your house and my daughter makes the 4th, I understand. I don't know. You probably need psychotherapy.
I'll give you my card.
See if she can divert me from my plan, because when they're all teenagers, I'm moving to the Bahamas.
That's a good idea.
I haven't told my wife the plan yet, and then I'm going to come back when they all love me again.
Can I come?
You can come, yeah, because we're going to be in the same boat. We also have Molly Trotter. She's the owner and coach of Take Charge, and she's also an Isogenics associate. Welcome.
Thank you.
And Angie Serino, did I get that right?
Serino.
Serino. She is the CEO of Avenue 3 Realty. Welcome.
See, Angie, I had that correct right off the top.
You did.
So let's have some fun. Yeah, let's have some fun today. And Aimee, we want to start with you, obviously.
Okay.
Tell us, what is Girl Uplifters team?
Well, it started off as just an initiative to kind of spread the word about girls uplifting girls, because to me I have 2 young daughters, ages 6 and 8, and I saw pretty early on how ugly it can get. So I was looking for it. I was looking for something where I could have some fun and like engage with my daughters and do it in a holistic way with the body and the mind, and then a little therapeutic as well. And apparently that's a dream. It doesn't exist, so I decided to create it.
Wow.
And so the whole initiative is girls uplifting girls at an early age, and the whole purpose is to plant the seeds early on, hopefully eventually proactively with moms who are either pregnant or wanting to be moms, parents, dads too. And that's the whole thing, is that we want to try to eliminate that mean girl.
And tell us a little more about that, because I hear that. And what scares me the most...
Make movies about that.
Right. Really funny one.
You typically think of that as a teenager, right? I mean, teenagers or even, I guess, middle schoolers, where that really tends to take over. And us being guys, you know, guys we don't really, I don't know if we notice it or see it or whatever.
Yeah.
But what was your background that made you even think about doing something like this, beyond just having a mother of 2 daughters?
Well, I was on one end of it and the other end of it as a mean girl.
So was that something that scarred you as a child?
Not scarred me, but it really motivated me, because in 3rd grade, I was bullied pretty heavily, where a group of girls decided that they were gonna stop me from having friends for almost the entire 3rd grade. But I had a couple people that had my back. Some big people. And
big
exactly. Big 3rd graders. And so I knew that didn't feel good, but I didn't learn then. I learned in around 7th grade. And there was a girl that forever, she changed my life. We played softball and soccer together outside of school, and I would befriend her, and we had a lot of fun, but she was kind of awkward, and so the cool girls at school would make fun of her, and I wanted to be part of the cool girls, and so I would make fun of her too. And then one day I did something, they bullied me, pressured me to do something, and I fell for it, which was kind of just overpowering her. And the next day she was hit and killed by a motorcycle, and she died. And so that really, I changed my mind, and I dropped those girls, and I befriended her best friend who witnessed the whole thing. And I just kind of spent the rest of my school year with her, and I decided never again will I ever let myself be the mean girl or let somebody pressure me to do that. And since then, it's really what has motivated me to be the kindest person I can be. And I've like immersed myself in kindness. I'm a kindness nerd.
There's no better nerd to be
Yes.
than a kindness nerd. And as a father of kids around the
Yeah.
same age, and Brian, same thing, I mean, we worry about that every day. My wife has come up with something, let's just, they got so many things going on in their life, and her whole goal is to, let's just raise them not to be just an expletive, right? Let's raise them to be good people.
Yes.
And there's just so many different things coming at them at that age. How do you go about, what is kind of the process that you take with uplifting these young girls?
Well, I definitely look at the seed planting. So I look at it like these events that I created are meant to plant the seed, and it's very, very, very important, parents, for you to be there. Very. Guardians, influencers, because I'm only going to be there to plant the seed in the 2 to 3 hours that I have them, and the parents will learn the tools to help to water the seed. And so I do it through, mainly for me, and being a therapist, my primary clientele is adults with childhood trauma or emotional or physical trauma. And so I work with going backwards to where the negative seeds were planted and try to pull those weeds out. And so I hope to plant flowers and help the parents and the children to learn how to do that. And that usually happens in a moment. So if I were in 3rd grade and back then, and I had a tool that I could use in that moment when that wave of like yuck came through, then I could have learned to like do some emotional self-care and maybe made a better choice. But what happened was that I just kind of got stuck in the yuck and didn't know what to do and didn't know how to handle it. And so that's really what I look at, is like, how can I help them make that wave go through in that moment when they're feeling yucky?
And Aimee, are these more techniques, or is it maybe for both the parents and the kids? Because I always wonder, like, especially now with social media, that we didn't grow up in this age with all this social media, but how does a 9 and a 7-year-old, how do they have the guts to stand up to a mean girl at that age when they don't even really maybe know what's going on?
Yeah, there's a lot. The main thing is what's reinforced to them when they go to somebody with this information. What they do when something like this happens. So when my daughters come home and they say, well, this happened to me today, my first question is, well, who did you tell? Well, my first question is, did you take a stress relief breath? And then my second question is, who did you tell? Because if they don't tell somebody, then they have no opportunity to really grow in that moment. And then also, if they don't tell, who they tell. It depends on who they tell. Because if you go to somebody and they're like, oh, whatever. So that's why I have an addendum to the assemblies that I'm doing, which is I do a presentation to the administration and a presentation to the parents about how they can reinforce and be an uplifter during discipline, during a challenging moment. Because I feel like sometimes the teachers, like, their role is so important. Like, I value teachers so much because they're not just teachers, especially at elementary school age, they're therapists too. They really are. They're helping to mold our little kids' brains and stuff, so.
We actually have a comment, I think, or a question.
So, first of all, 27 people are watching right now, so you need to say hi to them. But
hi.
Aimee's getting a lot of love. People are saying, awesome, Aimee, keep spreading that love and light, girl. The gut is such an incredible idea. We need to plant these seeds of kindness. Joan Pelosi Giametto said, go girl, go girl.
I love you.
And Courtney Ann Hedges said, hi Molly.
Oh, hi.
So Aimee, you also have a blog that people could follow.
Yes.
It's got a pretty cool name to it. Can you explain a little bit of what it's called and tell us the story behind it?
I'm going to tell the quick backstory, which
Okay.
is when I was training to be a therapist, I worked at a women's prison with their children. I know that's crazy, but it was right here in Kearney Mesa. And I didn't really care for the way that the curriculum was. I thought it was not really going to support them with pulling those weeds that caused them, because it was all drug-related crimes. And so I kind of went rogue. And I just started doing I did a lot of groups of like 40 women by myself, and I just kind of did my own thing, and I kind of became a vigilante. And I really am a vigilante for accountability. So that's why my blog is called The Healing Vigilante, and it's because I really feel like I want to hold people accountable, and I want to hold myself accountable. So whenever I write something, it's usually in response to something that I see, like a bad behavior that I see, or something that's negative. I'm writing one right now about the recent happenings in Hollywood. and talking about like the accountability of how we raise our children, our men and our women, our boys and our girls to be men and women, to make better choices in situations like that. So, yeah, I kind of like to, I will respond to certain articles that I see that are maybe, to me, need a little bit of feedback.
Right.
And you have the platform to do it on, that's for sure.
Yeah.
With the ability of social media to comment, just like we were
Yeah.
getting very positive comments
Yeah.
on the show so far, so that's really good. You have a daughter that is also, I can imagine you talked about Hollywood, so she's also on a Nickelodeon show,
Yeah.
correct? So she sees, I mean, that can be tough.
Yes, and she started when she was 4, and although I did judge under the table people that said their kid was an actor at age 4, she changed my mind. So, because she really has, like, she asked to do it, and she's been doing it, like, hit the ground running. But the one thing I noticed, especially being on Nickelodeon, is that the Nickelodeon fans are incredible and they're crazy. Like, she has like 562,000 followers.
Oh my God.
And so I decided once we started, I started seeing how fast that we were going to use her voice for good. And so I decided to use, because she doesn't obviously run the Instagram, I do. And so every Sunday since we started, I have Sunday Love Day Yay, and I post something positive. And then we created Conscious Hollywood, which is to, and me and my partner, a good friend of mine, Samantha, are writing a book called Raising a Healthy Kid in Hollywood. And we're using that social media platform to spread the gut word and talk about like girls uplifting girls and kids uplifting kids, moms
Right.
uplifting daughters, fathers uplifting daughters.
I was going to ask, because you hear a lot about the mean girls.
Yeah.
How does this translate to little boys?
Yeah, you know, I've had to do research on that because I don't have sons. And so I've been asking around and doing the research. And the one thing I see that's consistent is that boys tend to be more competitive and have power struggles at a very young age, where girls tend to be hurt. Like they tend to be emotionally hurt younger. They get their feelings hurt, where boys don't really get their feelings hurt as much. They kind of just like punch it out or argue it out, and then they move forward, and girls hang on. And then, I talked about the wave passing. Like usually what I'm noticing with boys is that their wave passes a little bit sooner based on what, the conflict is, because they kind of get it out and then they're done with it. Yeah. Where girls, the wave passes slowly because of the emotional attachment to whatever the outcome is. Yeah. And then usually the way that it passes is through passive aggressive behavior, where they'll do something in like retaliation, and the retaliation isn't a punch in the arm. The retaliation is really hurting somebody's feelings, excluding them, doing things that really are all rooted from their own insecurity in that moment of and also not knowing what to do. So I'm trying to like support them with gaining some self-confidence at an early age, and also gaining some tools about what to do during those times.
So if you can give us, to wrap it up, if you can give us a couple, for all the parents or the teachers watching that have young girls in their classes or young daughters like ourselves, what advice would you give, and what's something that we can take home and implement into our daily lives today to help?
The first thing is to slow it down. I would say just slow down whatever moment you're having, because a lot of the time, especially like even in my own life, I volunteer, I have my own private practice, I'm creating a new business. I can be going too quickly, so when a discipline or a learning moment comes up, I might kind of rush through it. So slowing it down, and starting like with the parents with your own breath, like slowing it down through breathing first, because what we're doing there is very scientific, right? I'm sure you know, is we have to slow down that nervous system so that we can respond versus react. And with children, the wave passes differently. Like us, because we have the whole years and years of brain activity, we can hang on and lament and judge and like go into that spiraling down. But kids really, their wave is going to pass a little bit faster, and we can help them with that by just slowing it down, breathing with them. I would say that's my number one thing, is just taking a stress relief breath.
We have to do that for homework.
Yes.
My second grader really needs the breathing thing.
So one thing that you'll love is I teach the stress relief breath, shake it up combo. So it's a stress relief breath, and then and just kind of shaking it out. And that's definitely all science-based. It's not something that I created from scratch, and it's called tension releasing exercises and breathing. I think I think breathing's been around for a long time, I'm guessing.
Remembering to breathe.
Yes, remembering to breathe, because most kids will hold their breath when they're having a tough moment. And so that's, I would say, the number one thing, and then start from there with, okay, this is the big one, everybody. When your child comes to you with something, the number one thing you need to do first is affirm what they're saying, then redirect. Most parents will try to redirect in the moment. They'll try to solve it, say, oh, right, like you'll be okay. They try to, but what you want to do is affirm what they're feeling, even if it's like, because sometimes my girls come to me.
Ridiculous?
Seriously, even my girls will come to me and be like my 6-year-old, she's a crack up. It's like a travesty every morning getting her dressed. And so I'm like, you have 50 pairs of pants.
You just made the parent face.
I did. It's like,
you just change that, please.
so if you breathe, it'll relax that parent face. So, and I'll be like, this is not important to me, but it's so important to her. It's the most important thing to her in that moment. So I'll try to do the affirm first, and somebody just told me there's no trying. So I will affirm. I won't try to do it. I'll affirm, then redirect and say, well, how about we've tried this? But without the affirmation, kids will almost always resist you. So the breathing and the affirm, then redirect. And it works really well with female relationships. So men, take that tip. Women love to be affirmed
Sidebar.
first. Sidebar, affirm, then redirect. Don't
If
fix
people
it.
wanted to contact you or follow you on your blog, how would they do so?
You know we're outnumbered right here, right?
Yes.
Right.
Just take notes.
And I'm a marriage and family therapist, so. Okay, so
We
if people
could
want to
go on
contact
all
me,
day.
they can email me at uplift@girlupliftersteam.com, or you can go to the website, www.girlupliftersteam.com. And those are the two best ways. We have Instagram @girlupliftersteam, and we have an event coming up on December 10th for families, everybody, all shapes and sizes. And kids under 3 are free. It's really meant to create togetherness. I had maybe a handful of people say to me that one exercise I had the mother and the child. By the way, only 4 fathers came to my event of 200 people. 4.
Come on, dads.
Come on, we need
Step it up.
men to be more involved, like with this part, with the emotional growth of their children.
Saying
Maybe
your
not you
dad.
guys. If it doesn't apply, let it fly.
Oh,
So-
it applies. Oh, it applies.
So we had them looking into their parents' eyes, and many parents came up to me and said they have not sat and looked in their child's eyes like that.
Wow.
And so we will be doing, and I was like, gosh, neither have I. And I'm the one teaching it,
Powerful.
So that's part of what we'll do with the event for families and it's just a small one in Carlsbad, and it's in the afternoon, so you can go to dinner and enjoy yourself, but it's meant to it's another type of gift during the holiday season. So
Very, very cool. And I think breathing is just a great, slow it down in general in a family. And I know that in wellness and when we're
You
talking
get the last 30 seconds.
yay! I think I only need 6.
Okay.
My main thing is to breathe, and also to I'm definitely a fan of creating happiness from the inside out. So uplift yourself every day in some way. Uplift your child. Teach them how to uplift themselves. And that will help you to be able to do that externally. And so I definitely think just those little things, uplifting yourself, something small every day. It could be like the SNL skit where it's like, you're smart enough, you're good enough. It could do that. Or it could be something as simple as like just taking a moment every morning to stretch with your child to say, I'm valuable. It's important to stretch your body, and starting off the day with doing something just for your heart and your soul. We do a family hug in the morning and when we leave. I know my husband, gosh, I love you. He rides the waves that I take him on with this emotional stuff, which is cool.
Trooper.
Yeah,
That's
he really
awesome.
is. But like that, just like something that's going to uplift every day, from a hug or a smile or just a kind word to yourself.
Well, I think all 3 of you uplifted us today and our audience.
Great
So I
energy
really
here
appreciate
today.
the energy and the passion.
Without
Thank
question.
you.
Clay, did you hear that? You have to stretch. It's important. As I've been telling you every day.
Calling him out.
I love you, my son. And also a special shout out to Amber O'Hara,
Yep.
who's watching us from Lincoln, Nebraska. Amber,
Hi,
we
Amber.
love you. And man, thank you all for being here. And
thank
we'll see you
you.
next
Thanks
week.
for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.